The rain was relentless that morning, hammering against the windows of my Portland apartment, as if the sky itself was grieving. I sat on the couch, a mug of cold tea in my hands, staring at the cardboard box delivered an hour ago. Inside was a leather-bound journal, its edges worn, its pages yellowed, sent by a lawyer I'd never met. My best friend Clara had died 2 weeks ago in a hiking accident, a fall from a cliff in the Columbia River Gorge that no one could explain. She was 31, same as me, the kind of person who lit up rooms with her laugh and knew every trail in Oregon like it was her backyard. We'd been inseparable since college, sharing late-night talks, bad wine, and dreams of opening a bakery together. Her death left a hole I couldn't fathom. And now this journal, her final gift to me, according to her will, was all I had left. My name is Lila Harper, and I thought I knew everything about Clara, but as I opened the journal, the familiar slant of her handwriting felt like a stranger's. The first entry, dated 3 years ago, wasn't about our coffee dates or her latest hiking adventure. It was about a man named Julian, someone she'd never mentioned. Met Jay at the pier, she wrote. He says he can fix everything, but I don't trust him yet. My stomach tightened. Fix what? Clara had no secrets, or so I thought. She was an open book, freelance photographer, perpetually single, always chasing the next adventure. But as I flipped through the pages, I found more names. Victor, Elise, a company called Horizon Crest, and cryptic notes about meetings in Seattle, coded messages, and a deal she couldn't back out of. One entry from 6 months ago stopped me cold. If anything happens to me, Lila needs to find the key. It's in the darkroom. Don't let Julian have it. My hands shook as I set the journal down. Clara's darkroom, a tiny space in her loft where she developed her photos, was her sanctuary. She'd never let me inside, saying it was her creative chaos. Now I wondered what she'd been hiding. I grabbed my coat, the journal tucked under my arm, and drove to her loft, the key to her place still on my key ring. The building was quiet, the air thick with the scent of paint and old wood. Her door creaked open, and the darkroom's locked door stared back at me, daring me to cross a line I couldn't uncross. The darkroom door loomed at the end of Clara's loft, its faded red paint chipped at the edges, a silent sentinel of secrets. My hands trembled as I fumbled with the keyring, searching for something that might fit the lock, but none of the keys worked. Clara's journal lay open on her kitchen counter, its pages taunting me with half-truths. I reread the entry about the key, her words looping in my mind. It's in the darkroom. Don't let Julian have it. I scoured the loft, lifting cushions, checking drawers, even prying open a tin of her favorite peppermint tea, hoping for a clue. Nothing. The loft itself felt like a museum of Clara's life. Vintage cameras on shelves, Polaroids pinned to a corkboard, a half-finished scarf she'd been knitting for me. Every corner held memories of our friendship, but now each one stung, tainted by the realization that she'd kept an entire world from me. I called my cousin Theo, a locksmith who'd helped me out of a jammed apartment door last year. He showed up within the hour, his tool bag clinking, his usual grin fading when he saw my face. "Lila, you look like you've seen a ghost," he said, setting to work on the lock. As he picked it, I told him about Clara's death, the journal, the names, Julian, Victor, Elise, and the mysterious Horizon Crest. Theo's brow furrowed, but he didn't interrupt. The lock clicked, and the door swung open, revealing a cramped room that smelled of chemicals and damp paper. I flipped the switch, and a red safe light bathed the space in an eerie glow. Trays of developing fluid sat on a counter, photos clipped to a clothesline above. But it was the back wall that stopped me cold. A metal filing cabinet, locked, stood beside a board covered in maps of the Pacific Northwest, marked with pins and strings connecting places like Astoria, Tacoma, and a remote island off Vancouver. Tucked into the corner of the board was a photo of Clara, not the carefree friend I knew, but a version of her with a guarded smile standing next to a man in a leather jacket. His face was partially turned, but a note in Clara's handwriting identified him. Julian, Astoria, 3/22/24. My heart raced. This was no hiking accident cover story. I opened the journal again, finding a page I'd missed. Julian says the deal is set, but Victor's getting impatient. Horizon Crest isn't what it seems. If I don't deliver, they'll come for me. Theo, peering over my shoulder, whistled low. "Lila, what was Clara mixed up in?" I didn't answer. My eyes locked on a small wooden box under the count. It was locked, but a tiny key, taped to the underside of a tray, fit perfectly. Inside was a flash drive and a folded note in Clara's handwriting. "Lila, if you're here, I'm sorry. The drive has everything. Horizon Crest, the money, the truth. Give it to Elise, not Julian. She's in Seattle." Before I could process it, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Lila Harper, we need to talk about Clara's journal. Meet me at the pier, 9 p.m. Victor." My blood ran cold. Theo grabbed my arm, his voice firm. "You're not going alone." I nodded, but my mind was already racing, wondering who Elise was and what Clara had been hiding that was worth dying for. The pier was shrouded in fog, the kind that clings to your skin and blurs the edges of everything, making the world feel like a half-developed photograph. I stood near the rusted railing, the flash drive heavy in my pocket, Theo at my side scanning the shadows. Victor's text had set my nerves on edge, but I'd agreed to meet him, not out of trust but necessity. I needed to know what he wanted, and how deep Clara's secrets ran. Thal had insisted on coming, his locksmith tools swapped for a pocket knife he swore he'd only use if things went south. We'd also called my old college friend Maya, a private investigator who'd moved to Seattle a year ago. She was already digging into Horizon Crest, promising to track down Elise. The pier was nearly deserted, the distant hum of a ferry the only sound, until footsteps echoed behind us. A man emerged from the fog, tall and lean, with slicked back hair and eyes that seemed to cut through the haze. "Lila Harper," he said, his voice smooth but laced with menace. "I'm Victor." He didn't offer a handshake, just stood there, hands in the pockets of his tailored coat. I asked what he wanted, keeping my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "Clara's drive," he said simply. "She was supposed to deliver it to me, but she got cold feet. Now it's your problem." I lied, saying I didn't have it, but his smile was sharp, like he could see through me. "Don't play games, Layla. Horizon Crest isn't just a company, it's a network, and Clara was in over her head. Give me the drive, and you walk away." Theo stepped forward, his hand hovering near his pocket, but I grabbed his arm, stalling. I asked about Elise, and Victor's face twitched. "She's nobody," he snapped, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of unease. Before I could press further, my phone buzzed. Maya, texting an address in Seattle and one word, Elise. Victor's gaze flicked to my phone, and I knew we had to move. "We're done here," I said, backing away with Theo. Victor didn't follow, but his voice carried through the fog. "You can't hide from us, Lila." We drove straight to Seattle, my hands shaking on the wheel, the flash drive burning a hole in my pocket. Maya met us at a diner, her laptop open, her face grim. "Horizon Crest is a front," she said, showing us files she'd hacked from a private server. Money laundering, art theft, offshore accounts. Clara was their courier, moving data through her photography gigs. She'd found Elise, a former Horizon employee who'd turned whistleblower, now hiding in a safe house. We met Elise at dawn, a wiry woman with haunted eyes who confirmed Clara's role. She wanted out, Elise said, her voice low. She copied their files as leverage, but Julian betrayed her, tipped off Victor. I think they caused her fall. My stomach churned. Clara's accident wasn't an accident. Elise took the drive, promising to deliver it to the FBI, but warned us Victor had eyes everywhere. Back in Portland, Theo stayed at my place, both of us jumping at every creek. The next day, news broke of a major bust. Horizon Crest exposed. Victor arrested. Julian's name in the headlines. I didn't feel safe. Not yet. I packed a bag, left Clara's journal on my shelf, and moved to a small town in Maine, far from peers and secrets. Elise sent a letter weeks later, thanking me, saying Clara would have been proud. I wasn't sure about that, but I knew one thing. I'd carried Clara's truth to the end, and that was enough.